Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our gathering of truth this week with me and Ellie. My name is Tanya, and Ellie is joining in a few minutes. And we do this every week. Um, we get together in truth. Hello, Ellie.
Good morning.
I'm just making my coffee. I can still hear you though.
I'm making my tea.
I was up a little bit late last night, so I got up at 7:30. I was making yogurt.
Oh, I used to make my own yogurt all the time.
I haven't made it in a long time, but I had milk that needed to be used, so I made yogurt and I did the laundry last night. How's Ellie?
I'm doing well. How about you? Are you doing, how
I
is
am.
your good? You had a good
I,
week?
I did. I did. I really I can't complain. If I did, who would be listening anyway? No, actually, it's been a really good week.
Good.
I feel like I've been catching up on Helen's videos though, because I find that lately I'm kind of antsy.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm having a hard time sitting still, a hard time
Yeah.
focusing on stuff. Like nothing can really keep my attention for very long.
Yes.
And I was part of her meetings the other day, but normally instead of just sitting down being fully alert and paying attention, I was up doing this and I had my headphones on and I was listening, but I couldn't sit down. So
Yeah. That was for the self-inquiry intensive.
yeah, and then she had a Q&A too.
Oh, on
And and I had the same thing happen. And it's all
yeah.
good. It's all fine. Like it's all being seen. And it's probably some sort of resistance because last night um, I did watch the video again that I was walking around with. Um, don't Something about resistance. Um,
Yeah, the that song this week was on resistance.
yes, and so I was listening to that last night, and I realized that oh shit, that that's probably what's going on here. And she did say like because I have been wondering myself, like, practice has been sporadic, to say the least. And again, there's no judgment around it, which is a first, because before there was a lot of judgment, like back in the
Yeah,
day when I first started doing all this stuff, there was a lot of judgment.
right.
But there's no judgment, it's just being seen. And
Yeah,
it kind of makes it
yeah,
relaxed and chilled.
yeah. I think it makes a huge difference when we notice that self-judgment, how prevalent it is, and how um, it's just sort of a reflexive habit of the mind. But once it's seen, um, yeah, it's seen more and more clearly.
Yeah, and there's no talk around it. Like, no, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you're
Yeah,
not this and you're not that, and you're where, this is gonna get you nowhere. There's none of that. Like, none of that is going on. And I'm also noticing that too, because,
yeah,
that used to be a real big thing back in the day. And it's just not. I'm just noticing that it's happening. It's okay that it's happening. I don't
yeah,
really need an explanation for it. I just know that it is. Occasionally I'll ask myself, just and again, that just happens. Like, what's going on here? And I know it's resistance. And I know for sure after watching Helen's video, because she was talking to I can't remember, but she was talking to somebody and she was saying, or maybe she was just talking, and she was saying that that when she was, getting much further along, she started noticing a lot of resistance, a lot of procrastination and things like that. And she said that it's not a sign that that you're not getting somewhere. It's a sign that you
Yeah.
really are. And she goes,
Yeah.
you would think that much further down the road that there would be less resistance, but actually much further down the road, that's when when your mind starts going, whoa, wait a
Yeah.
minute. I don't think it's safe to go any deeper into this, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I noticed since that one conversation we had where I said that everything was here, but then everything like the tangibility, everything just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
That's when this has really been happening.
Yeah.
So when she said that, it was like I could see the truth of what she was saying, and it's fine, and it doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything. It doesn't mean anything about awakening itself. I'm already awake. Like there's not even between the abundance challenge, the doer challenge, the unity challenge. I know we're only on day 3, but I'm really enjoying it so far, and it really came at the right time. Like it's right on point. I'm right
Yeah.
on point, and
Yep.
none of this means anything. Like yesterday, me and my husband went for a drive, and I was playing not all, the whole drive, just a little bit. A book from Adi Shanti.
Oh, nice. Which book?
Um, Let me just I'll tell you actually, because I'm kind of really liking it. It's volume 2, the most important thing, volume 2.
Ooh, I think that's his most recent book.
I, I
Yeah.
I liked the first one. I just got that one last month. So I was like just playing that in the background, and I just noticed there was an awful lot of resting as beingness going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was very present for that
Yeah.
drive, and um, none of this resistance really means anything. I'm I'm doing this challenge. I've been doing challenges.
Right.
Meditation is happening. Okay, maybe it's slightly inconsistent, but it is happening. Maybe while meditation, I'm having a hard time sitting down, and things
Yep.
keep veering off. But it doesn't. The veering off may keep happening, but I'm catching it really quickly, right? And then there's just a gentle bringing attention back,
Yeah. And that's all
and
meditation can be.
it's still
I mean, we can't
successful.
force anything. It's
No,
any forcing is coming from the sense of a doer, and that's
and it's fine,
counterproductive.
and it's
Yeah.
fine. I showed up.
Yeah,
Something
exactly.
here
That's how
showed up
I've
for
been
it. That was
feeling
the
too.
intention. And that's good enough. That's good enough for me. Why shouldn't it be good enough?
That's the thing. That's only coming from the mind. We know that for
Exactly.
sure. It's only coming from the mind, and it won't be forever. That the mind is even raising those objections. I noticed a lot of resistance with starting these two challenges. But it was different from the last time. Like with the conscious imagining challenge, when tried to start it last month, there really was like an overwhelm, like a sense of overwhelm and a sense of like, I just can't even do this. I don't know how to do this. Um, and just like all of these emotions coming up along with those thoughts. But this time it's like, I still don't really feel like um it still feels challenging, but the resistance just isn't having, it's just not stopping it. Like it just doesn't have, like there's just a seeing of it, and it's like, well, I am gonna do it. Um, So it's like the resistance can be here. It's not a sign
If anything.
of something being impossible to do. I just know that that's not real. So it's like,
And it's a
you
sign
know,
you're on the right track, according to Helen.
yeah, that's the thing. There's like a lightness to it because it's like, okay, well, I'm not very enthusiastic about this. It's not like nothing's really coming. There's still that same feeling of like I don't even know what I want. There, like, how am I supposed to do this if I don't even know, if nothing feels like it's resonating, if everything feels like mentally confusing, how am I supposed to still do this? But it's like even with all of that going on to some extent, it's like I just sit down and do it, and whatever comes up is what comes up. And there's definitely a sense of um yeah, curiosity. Like let's just see where this goes. Like it's probably going to get easier. Like that's almost guaranteed. So just keep doing it every day and there's just it's like there's nothing that can stop it. Even like resistance that comes up like I don't like this. I don't want to share this. Like I don't uh this feels uncomfortable. Whatever that is, it's all just seen from a vantage point of like, yeah, but am I actually affected by any of this? Like, is it like whatever's happening is just happening, there's no the self, like you're saying, the self-judgment that was there before, I think that was part of it. On top of all of that stuff that I just described, there was also this enormous sense of like, how am I still getting this wrong? How do I still not know how to do this? Like, how have I not gotten anywhere after all this time? And now it's just clear, like that can't even be believed anymore. Like it's seen before it even forms into something before it even
Yeah.
forms into a cohesive thought. It's like, and it's not like a pushing away of the thought or turning away from the thought. It really is just like, yeah, I cannot actually believe this thought anymore. Like
Yeah.
it's just there's such a doer wrapped up in that. There's such a sense of a separate person wrapped up in that. And it's like, well, I know that's the one thing I know is that none of that is true. Even and it's like that kind of spontaneous self-inquiry happens where you just look at it all from this place that's not being affected by any of it. And it's all allowed to be there. That's the thing. It's like, when resistance, even on a subtle, unconscious level, when resistance is perceived as a sign of failure, it just exacerbates it, But when it's deeply understood that it's just like anything else, it's just something that's showing up to be seen, then a lot of that emotional charge is just kind of dissolves on the spot.
Hmm. Hmm. No.
And there's just kind of a trust that everything that Helen says about the power of seeing has to be right. The mind can keep objecting and saying like, it can't be that simple. It hasn't worked yet. That was a big one. It was like, well, why hasn't it worked for me yet then? And it's like, who is that? Who is that? Who needs something to work for them? Like, where is that? Where is that person? Where is that seeker, where is that person on a spiritual journey who's failing? And
That
like
was a
every
big one
time,
for me too, that exact thing.
yeah, every time there's a
Like the
direct
exactly
looking, it's
thing.
like all I see is space. So all I see is the spaciousness. That's not going anywhere. That's not being affected by anything. And the mind used to come in with that and be like, well, what good is that? Like, how does that help? That's not anything. And there's just a clearer and clearer sense that whatever the mind's judgments are about that cannot be correct. It's just coming from a
Yeah.
place of total duality.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It just isn't, it doesn't have to be, um, it just doesn't have to be, I don't know. There was something that happened a couple of days ago where I was feeling really unhappy. There was this sense of like how can I still feel this miserable um if things are if like how like why is this happening? How is this happening? Why do I still feel so miserable? And there was just this um there was like just in the midst of that, it was almost like waking up from a dream, you know. It was just sort of a sudden sense of like I'm not miserable. I'm not miserable. I'm not actually miserable. The mind is making a lot of noise and it's insisting that we've always been miserable and we're still miserable. And so that's a sign that something isn't working. But when I actually look directly, it's not true. That's not true. I'm not miserable. There is no, it's just all I thoughts, you know, but
I'm
they're not even
smiling because isn't
reflecting.
that so, like, isn't it just fantastic that that you can even like we've been on this journey for a while and to like just sit here and hear you say that and then go, but I looked and there's nothing and I'm not miserable and I've never been miserable and there's nothing
Yeah.
but spaciousness here. Like that is so far from where we've come, from where we've begun
Yeah.
together, even. Like
Yeah.
it's it just brings a smile to my face because I'm also having the same experience here. Um, like the other day, there this body mind is gained quite a bit of weight since I've been off, and with very minimal activity, and the weight has just kind of piled on, and there was this desire to eat better and stay away from the chips because I've been eating a lot of those. And I hadn't had any for quite some time, and my husband brought some chips home, and I was eating them. And and then there came the thoughts like, you're trying to lose weight. This isn't helping. This is what got you into this
Right.
mess, right? But it was seen. And then
Yeah.
it was like, no, that's not true. And not in the sense of I'm gonna eat these chips because it's not true, right? Or I understand the body does have needs, and certain like too much of anything is not good. But I hadn't had any in like a week, and it was like, no, it's okay to enjoy some of these. These are also formlessness.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was like, and then I just remember closing my eyes and licking the chip and going, no, these are really good. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing this. I'm not beating myself up for this. I'm not, these are also formlessness. And again, I understand it wasn't like these are formlessness, so I'm going to eat piles and piles of them, right? I understand the body functions better. There is a desire to lose weight, but I hadn't had any in a whole week. And I thought, no, like these are also formlessness. And I know from prior to non-duality teachings, I used to partake in deeply in Ho'oponopono. And
And what?
Ho'oponopono,
What is that?
it is, oh gosh, I really can't. It's been so long that I really can't tell you what it is. But there is a phrase that goes with it, right? And it's Dr. E. Hokula Lin is he teaches that, and so does Joe, what's his name? I can't I can't remember his name. but anyway, I used to be really into this and the teachings and it was a phrase that you would repeat over and over again until it became automatically what was in the background of your experience going on
Okay,
all
like
of
a
itself.
mantra.
Yeah. But there's a lot of power behind this um, specific phrase, and it goes way back to like way back when. And it's an actual legit practice. And I remember one of the things that he said, and that was that, um, and he was the guru in this specific um, style of whatever you want to call it. But I remember his student Joe one time was getting with him. This was in one of his books, and he was really excited that he was getting together with his teacher. And when they got together, they were out, and there wasn't many restaurants around where they were, but there was a burger joint, and he was hungry, and he was very embarrassed to ask his teacher if he wanted to go to a burger joint to get some lunch because in his mind he said, I thought, well, he's not going to want to eat this. This is garbage food, and why does he want to go there? And there was a whole story
Yeah,
around the garbage
right.
food, and why would his teacher want to go to a burger joint for lunch? Clearly he's going to eat much better than that, right?
Right.
But there wasn't nothing there, so he asked him. And um and his teacher, he said, no, he got excited. No, I would love to go to a burger joint. I love burgers. I haven't had a
Ah.
burger in a long time. And he was shocked. He was like,
Yeah.
what? And
Yeah.
he was shocked. He goes, really? And he goes, yes. He goes, I love a good burger. And he goes, oh, he goes, well, I was kind of embarrassed to ask you because I thought you wouldn't want to because it's garbage food and maybe you'd want something better. And surely you don't eat this kind of stuff. And he goes, no, he goes, I would love to go get a burger with you. He goes, it's not the burger that's the issue. He goes, it's what I think about the burger that's the issue.
Mm.
He goes,
Yeah.
whenever I eat anything, he blesses his food first of all, and he always says like, if I have any problems after eating this, it has nothing to, he says this to his food, it has nothing to do with you and it has everything to do with my thoughts about you. So if he
Mm.
gets
Wow.
indigestion or if he has to run to the toilet or anything, like he specifically says this to his food when he blesses it. Like, if I have any issues from you, I know that it has nothing to do with you, that it has everything to do with my thoughts about you.
Yeah.
And like that one thing really stuck with me. And it is true. It's what we think, and Helen teaches us all the time. It's what we think
Yeah.
about stuff. It doesn't matter if it's a burger or if it's a thought. You know, there still is a body, obviously. Like you don't want to be just living off of hamburgers. You know what I mean? But still, like anything in moderation, it's all source, even the burger.
Right. Yeah. No, it's only the mind that wants to reject anything, that wants to categorize things into like um spiritual and unspiritual, you know. But it's just a mental, it's all happening on the level of the mind. That's not actually a real distinction. It doesn't actually exist in reality. Can I can I just step away for a second? I'll be right
Yeah,
back. Hold
sure.
on. I'm gonna move into the other room.
I don't think I've actually seen this room before.
Well, this is my kitchen.
I get to see your whole house slowly but surely.
I should give you a tour. It's not very big. It's an apartment. It's the top floor of a house. So,
Oh, is it?
yep,
Do
me.
you like it there?
I do. Yeah, I moved here about just about exactly 2 years ago, and it's really quiet, so that's helpful. And yeah, been spending a lot of time at home,
Hmm. I've
so
seen
it's
your apartment
nice.
from your YouTube channel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, at least the living room. That's right. Yeah, I did. I did do a little bit of a yeah, that's true. I have
Yep.
filmed everywhere in the apartment. Um so yeah, no, it's really quiet. It's on a quiet street, and there's just one person who lives downstairs, and she's really quiet. So um so yeah, it's peaceful, and it's like it's walkable around here too, which is nice.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I think my landlord might be coming by today to install my air conditioner. So if I
Oh,
have to like
nice.
answer the door, that's
That's
why. I'll
fine.
just say that now because I just remembered that he's supposed to come today, which is good because it is supposed to get really hot next week. It hasn't
Mm-hmm.
been so far, but yeah, yeah, it's just
I'm noticing a lot of less mind chatter, and I'm noticing
yeah,
when there is mind chatter, it's just seen. It's not like it's not this long, drawn out, getting
exactly.
sucked into whatever and building on the story. It's just even with mind chatter, even with whatever, there is just a lot more peacefulness happening here.
Yeah,
I even had to go to work the other day, and we all know, like, we
yeah,
all know the story around that,
right.
and I had to get some paper signed from my HR, and I showed up and um, to the front offices. And just shortly, once you enter the front offices, there's a back door you can see into the greenhouse, and you can enter the
Mm,
greenhouse and um, where my station is. If you go into the greenhouse and you turn into these cooler doors, like that's the area where I actually work. But she was in a meeting when I showed up, so I had to wait, and I was sitting there waiting, and I didn't know how long I was going to have to wait. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to where I work, and I'm going to say hi to my friend because I haven't seen her in a few months. And
yeah.
I'm just going to go and quickly say hi and give her a hug, right? And I entered the greenhouse and I looked around, and it was, fairly quieter out there. And I was walking by the big bay door that has kind of like a window so I could see into the cooler area where I work. And I opened up the blue door, and it was like loud and cool because I work in a cooler, and there was like the three lines. And the moment I opened up that door, it was like I felt everything just sink.
Yeah.
And I walked over to my station, and Lauren was there. She's the one who accidentally dropped the bucket on my
Mm,
face. It
yeah.
was it was an accident. She saw me and said hi, and I gave her a hug. And Eugenia was there, and a lady that I trained to work on the machine was there. She gave me a hug, and then I saw my friend Melissa, and I walked over, and that was my area. That's where I spend most of my time. And it was like just standing there. It was like, oh my God, I really am so over this. And there was just a seeing that. There was a seeing that
Yeah.
the energy of my being had just went through the floor. And then I turned around, and when I started working on this machine, I loved it. Like, I loved my job. Like, it
Yep.
is a really cool job. And the machine is awesome. And I turned around and I and looked at this machine and my table, my station, and it was like, no, it was just such a big, loud no, no to all of this. And it wasn't that I heard the no, I felt the no.
Hmm.
And I just turned around and she goes, oh, hi, and how are you doing? And are you coming back? And how does it feel? And I went, mm. I just went, mm. And then she said, are you even coming back? Like, because I know that I gave my unofficial official notice. Like, I technically wouldn't have, I would have already quit. And I said, to be honest with you, I really don't want to. I went, and I know that for sure, standing here now, looking at the machine and in our area, I really, and this is a big fat no. I don't want any part of any of this anymore. And she goes, so are you going to come back? Like, and I went, I got to finish the program. I said, part of the program is return to work, but it's modified hours, modified duties. I won't be here. Like, I won't be here with you. I said, working here, I'll be shredding paper, tubing stuff, stickering sleeves out there. I went, but I really don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Um, but the difference is in just, let's say, a week, is I'm noticing the resistance. I'm hearing the thoughts about why I don't want to be there. And I feel like all of that is okay. And when I go tomorrow for that 2 hours and shred paper, that is also okay. It's an opportunity for me to sit with what is already here, even if
Yeah.
it's going to be uncomfortable because it's not what's desired. And there is this willingness to trust,
Yeah.
however that ever this is unfolding. But I do know, however this unfolds, that job, that returning to that line, that's a no that I can't ignore, because just being there and seeing that, I noticed the life force just go down out. And something in me cannot and will not function like that anymore. So I don't know how this is going to unfold, but I do know that. I do know both of those. And there's an allowance to just let it be and see.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Any perception of it as a problem that needs to be solved is coming from the mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the tendency of the mind to focus on what we don't want, what we don't like, what feels like a problem. But it's that very focus on that perpetuates it, that perpetuates there being a sense of I'm a person who has all these problems that are making me unhappy. Um, but it's just a habit of the mind to perceive things that way. It's like the awareness is not actually affected by any of it. Like the more that's seen, the more that kind of trust is just comes naturally because it's like, it's the mind that feels stuck, it's the mind that feels like stuck in an unacceptable situation. It feels like that with everything. Like it's still, um, I think the Transcending the Mind book is helping me with that a lot, because it just creates space around it all. It creates, I mean, the space is already there, but it creates an actual experience of it where, um, yeah, when the mind is doing that, is saying like, this is unacceptable. Cannot do this anymore. Like, this is it. It's impossible, like that's always just mental activity. If that becomes
Yeah.
clearer and clearer. And the bigger the emotional charge around that, the greater the opportunity to allow yourself to just feel it. Nothing is actually overwhelming. Like that's actually uh never the reality, It's
Yeah.
it's really just like the more we sit with that, the more that becomes clear. It's like, oh, this is just mental activity. This also is the more compelling it feels, like the more important that is to see it. Like life will continue to change. Life will continue to evolve. Um, it does happen on its own. It does respond to um, as uh those stories in the Transcending the Mind book, like those seven false thoughts, the more clearly that's seen. Um, there was I watched another one of the videos last night, another one of the classes since I didn't attend the classes live, and Helen was talking about how, going through that book, like it's not like linear progress. It's not like, you transcend one of those thoughts and then you go to the next one, then you go to the next one, then you go to the next one. It's more like that. It's
Yeah.
exponential. Um, and so it just becomes clearer and clearer that the mind just can't be believed. Like whatever the mind is saying about you're not progressing, nothing's happening, these are the same old problems. This is intolerable. How is this still happening? Um,
Why can't I do this about this?
yeah,
I need to make a choice. Like
exactly.
that's just an all seems to be. And I know some of that is still unfolding here, right? The choice thing is still unfolding here.
Yeah, that sense of I need to do something. I need to
Yeah, the
do
sense
something
that I
about
need to do
this.
something about this. I
Yeah,
need to make a choice, when that is really let go of, and seeing that actually any choice that is being made is only a seems to be being made, right? No matter what the mind has to say about it.
yeah,
And that's okay too. And And even the situation where the tangibility of things fell away, like I knew nothing was outside of myself. I come to a place of knowing that nothing was also inside of myself and that it's just all of my essence. The body, the plant, stand, the thoughts, the food. But when that really started to steep in there, like really, especially since that little bit of a meltdown that we talked through,
Yeah.
when I look at things now, I'm noticing that what is being seen is not just that plant anymore. That sense that tangibility fell away, and it was like, oh, nothing's real, like nothing's really here. Like, not only is everything of my essence, but that means like it's all not here. There's nothing to grasp onto anymore. I'm in the like this black hole of nothingness, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's not true. Like when I've been looking at things since then, and it's still deepening within this body mind. I know that because I can feel it. I sense it, right? But something is different and something has become more alive. I was seeing it before, the essence of things, but now I feel like I'm knowing it. I'm
Mm.
starting to know it because now I can look at the plant and it's almost like I'm seeing its form, but I'm seeing its formlessness.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
there's an aliveness that comes to the foreground with that. There is, and I'm just noticing that that is happening more on a more deeper level. It's not just thought and then lived sometimes when I'm out in nature.
Right.
This is becoming like, doesn't matter if I'm looking at that lamp right there or that piece of paper over there or you or even the walls of the apartment. Like, it's almost like I can see the formlessness, like it's coming to the foreground. Like I can actually see the thing with these eyes, but it's almost like what I can't see is coming to the foreground of that appearance. The subjectivity versus the objectivity.
Mm. Yeah.
And there is an aliveness in that I think that I was really, really in touch with when I was outside for quite some time. But now it's not just outside of nature. Like it's almost like everything that I'm looking at now. So I know
Mm.
something is going deeper with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's just so much more peace happening. And even if, let's say, a week from now, 2 days from now, later on today, maybe maybe something will happen and it won't be enjoyable, or maybe it won't be preferred, or maybe this or maybe that, and it'll seem like I'm going through a difficult time. But I think that's also going to be okay too, because I'm really seeing how things are changing here. Things really are changing. And even if the objectivity of situations still look the same, the subjectivity of situations are most definitely not. There has been a real big shift here, a deepening happening here that is still going deeper. And it is all going to be okay, no matter
Yeah,
how it looks. How can it not be?
that's the thing. That's what I keep asking too. Like every time it feels like this kind of familiar negative thought pattern arises that's like, well, nothing has changed. If there's been a shift, then why does life still feel so unsatisfying? Like um why has nothing actually gotten better? Why do I still not have any money? Why do I still not have um anything in my life that I'm actually interested in? Why does it just still feel like barely getting through each day, you know? And it's like it's just more and more clear that that is just mental activity and that it's the mind that wants to consult experience and say this is a sign of what's real, you know, like I'm experiencing um like life being different. Like as a
Yeah.
person, I'm experiencing a different life. I'm having a different experience basically. Um, but again, there's that checking in with the formlessness, with the formless awareness, and it's like, um, yeah, that already feels okay. It's already okay with
It's
everything.
already okay with everything.
Yeah, and so like the more the attention naturally returns to that and wants to return to that, the less um the less important it is um that these like signs in the 3D experience are actually showing up. Like it's just there's just a trust that it has to show up. Like you know, if it's actually possible to feel okay, totally okay without anything having changed, you know, like it just makes it that much clearer that contentment and peace are not dependent on anything. It's not dependent on outward circumstances.
No,
It's already that. It's already perfectly at peace. And it's only a clear seeing of that that actually allows the reflection of this like seeming world of form to actually um, transform. And it just becomes less like it loses the emotional charge, like what the mind is doing there of saying like, no, I need this to change though. I need it to change. Like I can't be happy until this changes. Like how can I
you
be
need to
happy?
do something about this.
Yeah, it's like how can it be okay? Like how can it be okay if my car still doesn't start? How can it be okay if I still don't have enough money to pay off my debts? Like how is it still okay if I'm, you know, whatever it is, still feeling alone, still feeling dissatisfied, you know, still feeling like I don't have a lot of energy, the body doesn't have a lot of energy, like all of that, the mind fixates on that and is like, look, see, nothing's better, everything's still terrible. Um, like, how can anything these spiritual teachers say, how can any of that be true if life is still like this, if nothing has actually changed? Like, how can there be a point to any of this? And it's like, well, that's that is just the mind saying stuff. Like, it's just the mind. Again, it's just presenting what it perceives as a problem.
It's
And
that
it's like,
old radio
okay,
station playing in the background,
yeah,
the Ellie
yeah,
station.
exactly. It's the same old station.
Hear
And
ye, hear ye, hear ye. Like,
I mean, at some point it's like, um, yeah, it's just become clearer and clearer um that doesn't even nothing even needs to be done with that. Um,
it's freeing, isn't it?
it's really
Like,
freeing.
that
Yeah.
is a really freeing, that's just a really freeing feeling that we can sit and be with whatever the commentary of the
Yeah.
Ellie show and Tanya show is,
Right.
and know that no matter what is being said, there is a deep knowing now that the mind is not talking to me. The
Yeah.
mind is talking to itself. The mind is trying to figure out itself. The mind is
Yeah.
attacking itself, and
Yeah.
it don't know any of that, but something here does. And it's
Right.
all okay. It has nothing to do with what I am.
Yeah.
I am
And so
seeing
nothing
it
has to be
all.
done with it.
Nothing
Yeah.
has to be done with that. And that feels lately, like really lately, freeing.
Yeah. And that
Even
freedom is
the other
always
day when I
within.
went to work and I noticed that sinking feeling, and that energetically, this is a no. Like, the time here has passed. How do I know what's going to transpire here? I have no idea, but I know that what I am doesn't have a problem with any of this, and it will
Yeah.
work itself out. And I don't need to listen to the mind
Yeah.
telling telling me, right? Because it's not telling me, it's telling itself.
Right.
I don't like
Yes, for
this. I
sure.
don't want to come here. I want to be doing something else. You're not doing anything about this. It's just throwing a temper tantrum, and there's just a being with it, and it's all okay, and it's freeing. It feels
Yeah.
freeing and lighter.
Yeah, it is. It does for sure. And that's all um that alone just makes it clear that what has felt very real in the past um was still all just mental activity.
And there's like a
Like,
trust that's starting to come, like,
yeah,
and that's not like the Tanya person is starting to trust the formlessness. It's not like that, because
right.
I've even mentioned in the past having issues with trusting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But there's this sense of trust that feels like it is gaining some momentum here,
Yeah,
because without
because it's
even thinking I can or cannot trust something, something automatically is starting to happen here.
yeah, it is because it's only the mind that doesn't trust. When the mind isn't believed in the same way, our true nature is just there, that it trusts naturally. Like, it doesn't, it's not afraid of anything. It knows it's not affected by anything.
No.
Um, and I feel like that's what's just becoming more clear. That's why even things that have a real emotional charge, like even when that, like this week I had like when I was saying that I was like feeling really miserable. Like it was weird for that to be happening because I have been feeling so much better. And there was really this sense of like, what the hell? Like how is it like this again? Um, and there was just a really clear sense that I mean, that's why there was that experience of like, oh, I'm not actually miserable. Like that's not actually true. It can't be actually true because it's been seen so clearly that suffering of any kind only comes from a sense of separation. Um, and there was always a sense for the longest time that like, well, I feel separate. I feel separate. Like, what am I supposed to do about that? That's how it feels. How is any of this spirituality stuff helpful if it just still feels so separate? And now it's like, um, there's just less identification with that feeling. It's like that feeling can be here, but it's allowed to just be here. There's no kind of grasping onto it and saying like, this is how I feel. This is what's, this is what I'm experiencing. It's like there's just sort of um, a resting in the awareness of it. And, that it's interesting because like for the longest time, there was a sense of, well, I haven't experienced any kind of big shift. Like that doesn't work for me. I watched it, I've seen it happen to other people. I know it's real, but it doesn't happen for me. Um,
But it is, isn't it?
well, but no, because there's no me. Like that's the thing is it's yes, something is happening, like
You're already that.
but it's only that disidentification that's happening on its own that's allowing that, like, in other words, it's exactly like how Helen describes it. Like, as long as that story was believed, it kept perpetuating itself. It was really believed. That's the thing there. The attention just automatically went to it every time. Um, there was, there was just something there, some momentum there that felt very true and very real. But in the process of, like in the Transcending the Mind book, the process of just like writing it down, looking at it, seeing it, contemplating it, questioning it, it's like Helen says, like you can either question a thought or believe a thought. It's the very act of questioning it that allows it to be seen more clearly and allows that neural pathway or whatever it is that to be remapped,
Mm.
it's just there's no doing in any of that. Like the questioning just happens on its own. Like there's no like that curiosity about, well, is this really true? Like there was something for a really long time that like didn't want to loosen its grip, that resistance, like that self-protective mechanism that says this isn't safe. Um, it's not safe to question this.
Mm.
But that's just instinctive, that's why it's so automatic. That's why it is just like happening on its own. It's like a reflex, like
Yeah.
um, it's just something that happens in the body-mind system. Um, But at some point, like, the willingness to question that, like, it's just the suffering becomes so acute, um, that whatever the mind is saying about what's safe, it just becomes, it can't even convince itself anymore, basically. It's like, because I've had those experiences like this week of just feeling completely miserable, um, and unhappy and like I'm in all this suffering. That's how it actually feels. And then because the mind is actually quieter, because the peace is actually more apparent, because there is just less mental baggage obscuring it, there's yeah, it's so prevalent in the beginning, like when you first start on this path, like the mind is so noisy and the thoughts are so believed that there can be so many doubts about the truth of it even, or um but at some point you hear it enough times and you're like, oh, that's right, I don't consult thoughts for I don't consult my sensory perceptions. I don't consult even what feels like an experience, because as soon as I look at it directly, which becomes more and more um, automatic because it's been done enough times in the past, it's a reversal of that, whatever that contraction is that feels so completely natural. And it feels like there's a strong sense of identification with it, basically. There's a sense of like, this is me. Um, this is who I am. And the formless awareness is just kind of like a concept. Um, but at some point that shifts and it does become clear that it's that sense of a separate self that's totally conceptual. It's like 100% conceptual.
Yeah.
And the formless awareness, there's nothing conceptual about it. So it's
And it does become more real.
yeah,
That becomes the
exactly.
more, that which is intangible actually becomes more tangible somehow. Like,
Yeah,
like this is the truth of the matter.
right. Yeah,
Like that starts to step forward more and more. E-
yeah. And the mind doesn't have to understand,
and
so
it can't. And we know
no.
that. And it can't understand. And that's what makes it so not believable anymore when the stories are playing, no matter
Yeah,
what the chatter is. Because there is a knowing now that it just can't understand. It just can't.
yeah.
It's
And that's
always going to
allowed.
be chattering at some point. It's always going to have something to say about something. There is a body here. Maybe it will be loud some days and maybe it will be non-existent other days. But that is a function of the body mind. And it's that there's a deep knowing that it can't understand. It doesn't matter what it's saying. I
Right.
know what I am. And I'm not talking like the Tanya I.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the I that I am knows.
Yeah.
It's aware of itself. There's
Yeah.
no going back from that.
Right.
That is just going deeper and deeper all the
Yes.
time. And more is being seen. And it's becoming more and more effortless. Even the other day when I went to work and I seen my friend and I hugged her and she looked at me, she goes, "Oh, she hasn't seen me in, a few months." And she goes, "Oh, you're looking so cute today. Like you look good." And the first thing that came out of this mouth was, "Well, I'm kind of chunky now." And she looked at me and she goes, "No, you're not." And she laughed and I laughed and I went, "Yeah, I am." And then I didn't really catch that. I heard it when it came out the mouth, so I guess I did see it, right? But much later in the day, I don't know what was going on, but there was this sense that came slamming into the foreground of my experience, just out of the blue, that she had gave me a compliment and that I said, I there was no receiving the compliment of, well,
Right.
thank you, or whatever. It was
Yeah.
just the automatic response was, well, I'm kind of chunky now. And it did. Later on in the day, that for some reason that came slamming into the foreground of my experience. And it was like, huh, right. And it was like just a knowing of it's okay that that happened. But there was a
Yeah.
seeing there that there was this meanness that was so automatic towards this body mind,
Yeah.
that thought even couldn't even just say thank you for a compliment. It was like, and it was like, there wasn't no judgment. It was all just really seen, and there was this sense of just, I guess, not even judgment around the fact that it wasn't seen instantly. It was
Right.
later on in the day when it came slamming into the foreground of experience that had happened. And to know that I didn't do that, it was just an automatic response of the
Right.
mind
Yeah.
judging this body, putting it down, and that it wasn't kind to
Yeah.
itself. Like I would have never consciously said that to somebody. I
Right.
I would have never said that to somebody else, right? Even even if it was true, I would
Yeah.
not say that to somebody and make them feel lesser than.
Right.
And it just happened. And it was just, there was no judgment, even that it happened. There was just a seeing that I would have never said that to somebody else. And that was an automatic response that came, it just happened. And I
Yeah.
didn't catch it when it did happen. There wasn't no story about, but I'm seeing it now. No, I'm seeing it. There is only now.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
And it was
It
okay. It was even okay that it wasn't even caught in the exact moment that it happened, and that it doesn't matter if it wasn't, because there would have been a story too. That would have been a story in the past of, well, you didn't see that when that happened, like
yeah,
you're only catching that now, so that can't mean, jack shit because you didn't see it when it happened. No, that's
that
not what
doesn't
the teachings
matter.
show. It's seen now.
Yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
know that
that's,
I didn't do that.
yeah. Right.
And there again is this relaxed sense of freedom and lightness to that.
Yeah. I mean, that has to be, um, that has to be what matters, like, it's only seeing that again and again and again um, that you're just watching it all unfold. And it is only the mind that has any commentary about how it's unfolding or when it's unfolding. Um, or that it's not unfolding at all, and that's a problem, a huge problem. Um, it's all of that does start to dissolve, it just loses its it loses its solidity, the more it's seen. And I mean, that's what I realized this week when it really felt like it was that kind of back to square one feeling. It was that sense of like, I've been feeling miserable like this for years at this point, um, like it hasn't changed, it hasn't gotten better. How can it still be like this? It's impossible. It's not, I can't do anything about it. And it's like, and in the midst of it, um, there was just that, like you're saying, this lightness, this sense of like, that can't be, it just can't be true. Um, I've never been miserable. In this moment, I can see that. In this moment, I can see there hasn't been a separate self who was suffering, who's now learning to transcend suffering. Um, and I know that this was not clear until recently. Like there even with like it was maybe because I moved here 2 years ago, and I remember even then I remember like sitting on this sofa and thinking like, yeah, I know I'm not a person. I know I'm not a separate person. I know that's not real. And that there had been a lot of resistance around that already for a couple of years of non-dual teachings of like, because my first response to it really was like, I don't see how that doesn't make sense. There was just such a habit of consulting the mind for what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And because it didn't make sense to the mind, even though there was something else that was very obviously there that was saying, I know this is true. Like both were happening at the same time, but there was just a tendency to go to the mind and to be like, well,
Mhm.
until it makes sense on this mental level, I don't understand how it can be true. But like this sense of like, and then you become more comfortable with non-dual teachings, and you start to find yourself hearing people say things like, well, there's no doer of actions, there's no believer of thoughts. And there is something that feels like a relief about that because it's like, oh, okay, then I'm not actually doing anything. I can relax. I don't have to worry about it. Um, that's happening on like the conscious level. And on an unconscious level, there's still these programs running. Something like the dissolving the doer challenge that we did. That's where that's really helpful because it's like a
Yeah.
direct, very direct looking, and those
Yep.
unconscious programs they become conscious. And then it's like that's where the resistance becomes really strong, and that feeling of disorientation and that sense of like, wow, I really don't like this. I thought that I already understood this, but now there's something coming up that's saying like, no, 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 undo, undo. Um, and that is actually a really good sign because it is a sign that it's new territory for this for the mind. And
And that
um
there's no past. Like,
yeah,
even when you said that I've always felt like this, I felt like this for years. And I've had the same story about money. I've always struggled with money. I've always been, barely getting by my whole life, like da 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 da. That's just a story too. There is no past.
yes,
There's only now.
right. There are no karmic patterns. That's the thing. It's like
Like
for
that wheel is losing its momentum.
exactly, no, because for a long time there, like even with a sense of, okay, I'm not a separate person, I accept that, the mind is
Mhm.
okay with that. Like on some level, that has to be conceptual still. It's the mind's very acceptance of it that it can show that it's just like, okay, that's a concept I can get behind, but it's when even those concepts start to break down that it does become disorienting, but that's temporary too, because at the end of the day, it is actually good news that there are no karmic patterns to transcend. Um,
I mean, that was apparent, like what you're saying right now, like when the tangibility of stuff just kind of, it's
yeah,
like
exactly.
the mind could get behind knowing that everything, there was no outside. Okay, no, well, now there's no inside. Okay, yep, I'm down with that. I got that.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's like, and everything is of my essence. Yeah, I'm okay with
Yeah,
that. I'm okay with that. But when
yeah.
that one other thing hit, it was like, whoa, hold on, and there was like all this freaking out. I was like, wait a minute now, and
Yeah,
it's like all
yeah.
this backpedaling, and it was like, so you're right. There's just this noticing. There's just this noticing that the mind is okay and it's getting on board with certain things, and then all of a sudden it's not, and that it's just all mind activity. It doesn't matter. This is the
Yeah,
truth of things. This is what is actually what it is. Everything is formlessness. First and foremost, everything, even from the smallest molecule. But again, there is form. And even though form seems to be here, the truth of the matter is, first and foremost, it's formlessness. And when things are starting to be seen from there, that is very different,
yeah,
and more does get seen, more and
yeah.
more. Even in
Yeah,
the
it gets
car
seen more and more
yesterday,
deeply.
I was sitting with my husband and it was hot, and he'd said something. He's uncomfortable with his weight at the moment, and he said something, and I went and I questioned him about it, just like I said something like, well, I still find you attractive, and I meant that. And as soon as that came out of his mouth, there was a thought of going back to that conversation with Melissa. It was instant. It was like as soon as that came out of my mouth, the truth of the matter came slamming into this body mind again. And it was like, you can be okay and still love your husband that way,
Mm,
but not, you can't extend that to yourself.
right. Yeah.
And that last night in the bathroom when I was, getting undressed to go to bed, I just stood in the mirror for a minute,
Mm,
looking at my nakedness and kind of turning around and listening to all of what the mind had to say about what it didn't like and what it did like about how I look right now. And there was
yeah.
just for a few moments, just listening to that play out. And no, none of it was true. Not the good stuff and not the bad stuff. It's all commentary.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed me like what Helen said in the last talk that I had with her when I was, crying and having like a moment, not really even knowing what to ask. And at the end of that conversation, she said, that for herself, and I think it's because she was picking it up in me too, that, just stay here, be
Yeah.
here, metaphorically, stay here, hold here, right? And then she said that for her, what was playing out was that even though she knew there wasn't a doer or a chooser, right? That metaphorically speaking, there was still an ownership of the good things. Like, oh, I did that,
Mm,
right? So there she goes, don't. don't take ownership of any of it. Not
Yeah.
don't take ownership of what went right and what went wrong. And that was part of my conversation. But I thought I made the right decision. And she goes,
Mm,
don't take ownership of anything, not what
right.
went right and not what went wrong. And when I
Yeah.
was standing in the mirror last night, just listening to what the body had to say, well, I like how this looks right now, and I definitely don't like how what this looks right now. And just listening to it, and it was like, don't take ownership of any of this. Any of what
Yeah.
the mind is saying it likes, and any of what the mind is saying it don't like, or what needs to be done. Don't
Yeah.
pick any of it up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's all coming from that contracted place, you know? It's like, you know, you can do like a thought experiment. Like, even if you get to a point where where the mind does accept this body, it's like, well, does it accept everybody? Because this isn't my body. Like, it's
It's
that,
impersonal.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like the the formless awareness isn't picking and choosing bodies. Like, it's not judging bodies. It's not saying these bodies are beautiful and these bodies are ugly. These bodies are healthy and these ones are unhealthy. Like, it's not even doing any of that. It's not judging in that way. It's not
And nothing is separate to myself.
right,
That body or that body. It's
right.
all it's all one being.
Yeah. Yeah, it just makes it clear that it's only the mind thinking it knows. Um, but it is just a habit. And that thing of like you were saying about there being no past. I mean, that's one of the most powerful realizations there is, you know. That was one of the reasons why that sense of being miserable it just kind of dissolved this week when it came up because it was just like, wait, that can't be true. That whatever the mind is saying right now, of like, you've been miserable for so long, how can you still be miserable? Like, when is this going to end? It was just like, you know, what if I just landed in this moment and I just did that? I just like looked directly at this moment just as it is. And it was just clear that none of it was real, you know? Because, like, in this moment, like, where is there a history of being miserable? Like, where is it? Like, in the same way that you do the self-inquiry and, like, okay, show me the separate person. Like, okay, I'm looking directly. Um, yeah, I don't see a separate person. Instead, I just see this, um, there's a sense of just being here now. There's a spaciousness, there's a presence. There's an awareness. You know, it just becomes clear. It's like, okay, there's nothing personal about any of that. There's no there's no person on a journey there. And like if that's not true, then like the certainty around that starts to break up and they're just in its wake is there's just this sort of curiosity of like, well, then what's life has to be okay. Like,
Hmm.
if there's not the attention automatically going to that story and insisting, in the mind insisting that it's true, um, when that starts to dissolve and fall apart, then, yeah, like it's been questioned enough times that it's been looked at enough times to for it to become more and more clear that no matter how real it feels, there's something just watching that. And the mind just doesn't have the momentum behind it anymore. So it's exactly like what you're saying with, having these kind of familiar stories come up, but it's like if somebody, it's like it says this in the Transcending the Mind book that, someone else can tell you what their fears are, for example. It's like, yeah, I have this phobia. I have claustrophobia. I'm really I get really, really uncomfortable in tight spaces. Like if you haven't had that experience yourself, I don't have claustrophobia. I'm just using that as an example, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like somebody could say that to me and I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting that you have that thought that tells you this thing that's not scary is scary. I can see clearly that that's just your body reacting to something. Um, we can do that like with ourselves, like with our own thoughts, it becomes more and more impersonal. It becomes more and more just looking at it from that objective place
Mm.
of yeah, that doesn't so like this story of being miserable, um, that's been hanging out for a long time, and it just was perpetuating itself. It was like I would just wake up every day and I'd be like, okay, I'm still miserable. I still don't know how to fix this. I still don't know how to make myself happy. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, in any given moment, when it's looked at directly, and it turns out even when there's an emotional charge like that, even when there's a real feeling of like really powerful resistance, really sort of like misery heaped upon misery. Like not only am I miserable, but I'm miserable that I'm still miserable. I'm
Mhm.
miserable that I haven't been able to figure this out. And it just became so clear that a lot of there was still this sense of doing even behind spiritual practice. Like there's a sense of like, I'm doing this because it's the only way I'll ever be happy. Like I need to keep doing this because otherwise I'll be miserable still. I'll always be miserable. Like I have to be better at meditating, whatever that is. But what became clear was like, no, I'm already happy. I'm already at peace. I'm already as happy as I'll ever be. All of this mental activity is just obscuring that fact. It's just making it seem otherwise. Um, but even in the moment of seeing it directly, like it does dissolve. And then it's like then it becomes clear that that is correct. Like that lightness is already here, that freedom is already here. Um, and whatever the mind comes in to say, like, well, you're not as awake as that person has fewer problems. You need to get there, like you need to get to where they are. And then the mind is like, but I don't know how to do that. Like I've tried so many times to be better at meditating and it keeps failing. It's like,
It's just knowing that we are already that.
yeah.
No matter
And
what
it's
the mind
not,
has to say or how things look, we are already that. I am already that. I am
yeah,
already Helen.
yeah.
Helen's not separate from me.
No.
Our juice is the same.
I mean, it's literally exactly the same consciousness. There is no separation. I mean, and every time we do self-inquiry, we see that the consciousness isn't personal. It's the
Mhm.
same every time. It's just the same formlessness. And it's just seeing that again and again that allows a greater embodiment of it. But the mind doesn't judge that accurately. The mind doesn't, it's like the mind will keep insisting, well, but you're not embodying this. Like, look at all of these flaws that you still have. Look at all of these shortcomings that you still have. Um, I found that really helpful in the dissolving the doer challenge when one of the daily readings said something about like you're not the one who's becoming more disciplined or becoming or it's there's not a doer here that's becoming more disciplined or more, and again it was so direct that it was like wow, there was just so much momentum behind, like it's been years at this point that there's been this like constant story, like every day waking up and saying, I have to be more disciplined today. Like I'm still not disciplined enough. I'm never going to wake up if I'm this undisciplined. Like I need to try harder. And like as that started to dissolve and there was just like no more attempts to be disciplined, that was replaced with the story of like, I can't believe you've just given up. Like you're not even trying anymore.
Mm.
Um, now you're really
Man,
never
man,
gonna
you have
wake
walked
up.
this path together, let me tell you. 'Cause and same, I've had the same thing, the same thing.
Yeah,
I thought you wanted to be awake, and this is getting you nowhere. Like, you
yeah.
really need to set that schedule. You keep making schedules to do this and that and the other thing
Oh
every
man, I could
day,
show
and you
you
don't do any of it ever
so
and
many
never,
like abandoned schedules that were
right?
attempted.
And it's just,
Um,
it's preposterous. And
yeah,
yeah, and you're right. Also, again, replaced with, that sense of what you were just saying. And it went from one thing to the next thing. And it's
yeah.
like, none of this is true.
That's the thing, the whole timeline illusion, the idea that we're on some kind of a timeline, and like the more clearly it's seen that we're already that which we're seeking, we're that which we believe we have been seeking. Um,
And that's it. It's
we're
the intention. It's the intention, like Helen
yeah,
and all the other teachers talk about. It's your intention,
yeah, and
like
that's the
there's this
thing.
willingness that I would like to be more consistent with practice each day.
Yeah,
That's
that's
as
what I
far as you
started.
can go, and it'll sort
Yeah,
itself out.
that's what I started doing. That's why I started doing conscious imagining around that because it's just so clear that this like that was where there was a sense of a doer still hanging out, because that's where there was still self-judgment, and there was just this sense of like yeah, it's it's like okay, there's a willingness now to try this, to try just having this intention, and it's already happening. It's so interesting because it's like um there's that just sitting with it, like in the morning when I do the practice, it's like, um, yeah, I can imagine this. I can imagine waking up in the morning and just wanting to meditate and just having that be totally natural. And it's really different from I can see one of the reasons there was like a lot of resistance around conscious imagining and a lot of there was a lot of mental activity still because there was a sense that it was really helpful when we talked about it in the group on Tuesday night with Louise, because again, it's like this keeps happening where there's no doing happening at all. There's just like the opportunity will come to see something more clearly. Um, and it will just be seen without any effort. And that happened in that conversation on Tuesday night where it was just like something just sort of fell apart, this sense of like the mind would come in and judge it still. Like I would do a conscious imagining around something. Um, and then if it didn't, like the mind would kind of fixate on it. It would say like, well, Helen says that the universe will give you something even better than what you imagine. Like that hasn't happened to me yet. It's like I'll imagine something going really smoothly and it'll go pretty smoothly, but it won't go really smoothly, something like that. But it's like there was no it reminds me of what Helen said in one of the dissolving the doer challenges where she said like the mind comes in and wants to pull up the seedlings. Like it won't allow things to unfold. Like it just comes in and judges it immediately and says, like, this isn't good enough. This isn't the full thing that I imagine. This isn't the full manifestation. And yeah, there's just like there's more grace around that now. Like I can see that. Like I can see that's why even though uh like the resistance will be there. I'll sit down to do the conscious imagining and there'll be this feeling of like, I don't want to do this. This doesn't work. Um, it doesn't actually feel good. It's supposed to feel good, but it doesn't. And again, there'll be like a direct looking at that and it'll be like, it's just not true. Like, it's not true that it doesn't, like the mind has this story about it, that it doesn't feel good, that it won't feel good, that I'm doomed to just feel bad and to never feel good. And it's like that's just allowed to be here now. It just isn't, there isn't the same, it's kind of hard to, I'm not exactly sure what it is because I know there's no, I guess that is what it is. Like there's no person believing in it. So it just starts to like break down. It's like, wait a minute, there's more of a curiosity now. Like when that feeling comes up, it's like, okay, well, what is this? Like, what actually is this? It's just something happening in the mind. But when it's questioned, like, or when there's like curiosity around it, it doesn't go anywhere. Like the energy doesn't build in the same way. And when y- so I think that's why there's this like lightness that's just here. Um, because without all of that heavy energy, it is dissipating on its own.
Yep. And even Helen, like she even just recently in one of her last meetings, like she talks about like I'm no different than you. Like she openly talks about her struggles. She openly talks about her inconsistency. She just openly was celebrating the other day that she did 30 days
Yeah,
of her asanas, I think it
yeah,
was.
yeah,
Like, and she's been at that for a long time. And she said that in a
yeah,
previous meeting. So like this doesn't stop. There's no end game. It's just
right.
a constant. unfolding all the
Yeah,
time. As long as there is a body, mind, it's not going to stop. Not in this lifetime, not in the next. It is a continuous unfolding into oneself. And the oneself is so vast. How could it
yeah. I
even
mean, that's the
possibly
thing.
have an end game? Oh, this is when I'm going to reach that end point. What end point?
Right. Yeah, it's only the mind that even formulates things in that way. And that becomes more and more clear, you
If
know?
I'm so vast and I can't see a beginning or an end, there is no end point. As
Yeah.
long
I
as
mean,
there
that's the
is
thing.
some sort of form, there will always be a deepening and unfolding into oneself. It can't be any other way. And Helen proves that.
Yeah. I mean, it's only like it makes it that much more clear that it's only like it's what you said earlier about it's the mind that attacks itself, you know? It's like any kind of story that says resistance is here and that's a sign of failure. Like that's literally just more mental commentary. You know, if resistance is here, all that means is that resistance is here. And that's what I've noticed in the last few days since we started the two new challenges. It's like there's so much of a softening around it. There's not an intention to get rid of the resistance. The intention is only to do the practice even when there is resistance, you know? It's like there's no needing to get rid of any of it. I didn't even realize how much that was still in play, you know, this sense of like, yeah, like I need to get rid of this. I need to make this happen. I need to make that happen. It just sort of resurfaced this week and it felt like really intense. Like it felt so intense that it was like all memory of any shift having happened was just like gone. But the interesting thing is it just didn't last for very long. Like it was seen a lot more clearly that like okay, here's this familiar pattern. Um like I was sitting here with my work laptop and this has been like an ongoing thing for a long time. Like I've wanted a change in my work situation for a really long time. I'd like to be doing something more interesting. I'd like to be doing something less um, stressful, something that a lot more lucrative would be nice since I've been barely making ends meet for years at this point. Um, and there's just been so much negativity around that, you know, so much self-judgment, so much resistance, so much like um it's like what you were saying earlier. Like I used to like my job. I loved it in the beginning, you know, like it felt really aligned, you know. I loved working at home. I loved working with language. You know, that was what I'd always wanted to do. It felt like a skill that I really had, you know. Compared to working in an office, it was so enjoyable. I felt like to so independent and, you know, and I thought that I would do it for the rest of my life, you know. It was just like, this is so enjoyable. I feel so lucky, you know, I feel so lucky that this has worked out that, and then, you know, through whatever circumstances, it just was like every other job I'd ever had, it started to feel like a total chore. It was like not enjoyable. There was like nothing I enjoyed about it. I wanted to do something else, you know.
Keep talking. I forgot to take something at the freezer.
Uh-huh. And you know, that this week that came back like really strongly, and like it was just interesting to watch it sort of unfold because like it just didn't matter what the mind was doing or what the mind was saying. The capacity to just sit there and keep doing the work that I needed to do,
Yep,
it just made it clear that it really was just happening on its own. Like,
it is, right?
you know, the mind, the like I'm literally sitting there and the mind is saying, like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't.
Yeah,
Uh, and yet you know, there was just a greater capacity there to see that, but it didn't even have to be actively questioned. It was just seen clearly for what it was. It just was no longer being consulted as the as like actual evidence of what was real, you know?
right.
And so without even doing anything like that, energy just kind of shifted, like, and I'm seeing that happening more and more. It's happening with the meditation as well. Like this morning, like every morning there is a thought of like, maybe I won't meditate, but the body just sits down to meditate anyway. And it's just kind of, it's just becoming more and more fascinating to see that. And that's only been seen really clearly since the dissolving the doer challenge. I still remember like I don't remember if it was like it was like just within the first couple of days of that challenge that Helen described, you know, like what we believe is happening. We believe we're making a decision. Like there'll be like some mental activity and then there'll be attention given to the mental activity and it's like, well, I could do this. Oh yeah, I do want to do that. I guess I will do that. And then the body gets up and does it. And
Right?
there's just this unquestioned belief that there was like a decision that was made, like that mental activity is actually a prerequisite for anything happening. And there must have still been like an unconscious belief in that because I remember being like being taken aback by reading it and being like, well, yeah, that is what's happening. That has to be what's happening, you know. And then later in the challenge when she talked, and so, but then there was like a lot of mental confusion about it and a lot of sense of, well, I'm not getting this. Like that's what seems to be happening, and I don't know how to see past that, you know. And so that was a whole thing. And then later in the challenge when she says something like, you know, there might always seem to be a doer, you know, because as long as there is a body mind, that's how it's perceived, you know, that's how the experience is perceived. And then there was like a relaxation around it of like, oh, okay, I don't have to get rid of anything here. And yeah, I don't know. It's just I guess what's becoming more and more clear, and it's less and less like conceptual, it's more and more experiential, that the mind really doesn't understand what's happening. Like it's and that's okay. Like, and it doesn't have to be alarming. there's just more and more like curiosity around it of like, well, what happens when there's more and more clarity around that and there's no need to even try to understand with the mind. Like that's just sort of it just sort of dissolves on its own. Um, it's sort of like, well, what does happen if I wake up in the morning and there's no sense of a history of anything, a personal history of anything?
Yeah.
Um, like if it's not real, it's not real. And if it's, um, which kitty is this?
This is Riley. He's my buddy. He keeps looking at me with these like doughy eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what, man? He's like totally zoned in right now.
Um, yeah, there's just less distress around it, you know. And like when it does arise, like it did this week, when there was that sense of like, and what's this other one?
This is Sia.
Sia?
Yeah. Now she's coming over to say hi.
Are they related?
They are. They've got the same parents. It's just she was born the litter before his.
Okay, yep.
So they are siblings, just a
He's the
year
big
apart.
brother.
He's
Little
big.
sis and big
He, he
bro.
he's like she's really petite for a cat,
Yeah.
and he is massive. Like he's a really big cat.
How long have you had them?
I think they're like 10 years old.
Oh,
10,
okay, yep,
10, 11.
yep.
Yeah. He's starting to get like a little beard,
Yeah,
that age beard that cats seem to get. They're both still cute as heck.
yes, they are. They still love the cuddles.
Yes. Her, she's ripened with age.
Yeah,
Um, she never used to be. It's only as she's gotten older that she becomes more and more cuddly, more and more social, more and more.
yeah.
I don't know. She needed to ripen, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how their personalities change over time when you have a pet for a while.
She's like the polar opposite of what she used to be, like the polar opposite. And now she's so much more enjoyable. She'll let me pick her up. She'll
Yeah,
let me like pet her. She's not hiding so much like when Jerry comes over, she'll go and she'll sit on Jerry or let Jerry pet her or the boys, you know what I mean, instead of
yeah,
hiding.
yep,
And
yeah.
she's just much more social and you can touch her and I don't know. We have a relationship now, don't we? Whereas we didn't have one before, right?
I hear the purring.
That's her, yeah. She's kind of chirpy.
Yeah,
Sometimes she sounds like a bird, actually.
yep, yeah.
It's kind of cool. I call her purr is chirpy. Oh, there he goes. Either that or he just fell off and we wanted the other. I don't know. I think things are unfolding as they're unfolding, and we're
Yeah,
just watching it all happen, really. And it just feels lighter and
yes,
freer, and there's just a deeper sense of lightness coming in and a heightened sense of knowing. And everything is everything is going to work out just fine. It
yeah,
always has. I was
yeah,
pondering that the other day when, like, and even I talked to Matthew when we were driving yesterday a bit about it. And, that I was talking about my friend Kay that when I gave my unofficial official notice at work that she was too pondering quitting, and she's a single mom with a kid, and she's just really, really unhappy, like really, really unhappy, as we all were in this little group. And we all have our own reasons. And and she was saying, that she don't have a plan, she don't have any savings, and like, and she was like setting dates and setting dates and setting dates, right? And then while I was off, she called me a couple weeks ago, and she asked me if I was coming back to work anytime soon. And it's like, I don't know. And she goes, okay, because Friday's my last day.
Ooh.
And I went, oh, and it is. And she goes, yep. I gave my notice, like Friday is my last day. And I went, oh, so you found another, like she didn't have another job, or she technically didn't really have anywhere to live either, right? Like, and she says, no, I don't have another job. I don't even have a place to live, really, at this moment. Um, just, but I'm done. I, this isn't going to change. Um, Something needs to give here. And if this isn't going to give, then I have to think of myself. And no, I'm a no. And that's it. And I don't have a plan. And she called me the day before last, I think, just to check in, because she heard, oh, because she heard I was at work and she was there grabbing her record of employment. And I said, yeah, I was there. I needed to sign some papers. She goes, oh, I was here too. So she must have been off saying hi to somebody. And I said, oh, and um, I asked her if she had found anything. And she goes, nope, I haven't. To be honest, she said, I still don't have a plan. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like, none. I know I'm packing up my house. Um, that's about it. I don't have another job. I guess my plan is to see how long I can survive without an income. And she goes, and then that's it. And I just need to. And she's, for a while now been going to church because she was looking for something, like to believe in something greater than
Yeah.
herself, to know that things are going to be okay, that and so she started going to church, and she's church talky at the moment, and that's fine. It's the same thing, just different language.
Yeah.
And she's just saying, I just need to trust in the Lord, and know that He's guiding me, and that everything is going to be okay for me and my son. And I really don't know. And I guess, like, her and her ex, his her son's father, they're on very good terms, and that's all it is, right? And he offered to let her stay with him. Her son is already there, right?
Uh-huh.
Because she was packing and stuff, and her son's already there, and she's going to go stay there on his couch or
Yeah.
whatever until she can figure out what she's even doing, because she has no idea what she's doing. She just uprooted everything. She
Yeah.
moved out of her mom's, which was a toxic situation. She quit her
Mm.
job without a plan or savings. And she even said, to be honest, I'm not even looking for anything right now because I need some time for me. I need to figure out what I'm doing, what I want to be doing, so that's her plan. And even you, like the last talk we had when you said that your work has finally dried up,
Yeah.
and you don't know what's going to happen from there, and you're not running around like a chicken trying to figure it all out, and there's this trust to you that's, I can see it unfolding. It's been unfolding in front of me. And when I went to the work the other day and I felt that I've had a lot of energy lately and I felt it just go right, it tanked
Yeah.
instantly. And it was like this sense of dread and dreariness, and that even though there was no verbal no, there was an energetic no. Like, ah, no, injury after injury after injury, issue after
Yeah.
bodily issue after bodily issue. We've talked about those things like incontinence and stuff. Like, I can't dishonor myself like that anymore. It's ran its course. How's it going to work out? I don't know, but it will. It will figure itself out,
It
and
will.
I don't need to do anything about that right now. And I'm not worried like I have been in the past few
Yeah.
weeks. There's a calmness and a peace and a trust
Yeah.
that it's unfolding. And you and Kay actually helped me with that because I know that you guys aren't separate from me. And what is meant for me is already here. And
Yes.
what needs or will be done about it will be done about it. And that is already unfolding here through there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You,
No.
I can't see what's in you without it being here.
Right.
I can't see what's in her and her courage and go, I'm so proud of her, and that there's this real trust that's developed in her and in you, and not know that it is here too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that disconnect can't be anymore. I can't see that way anymore. It has already unfolded. I'm looking at it. I
Right.
was hearing it when I talked to her, and it's like, and this somehow will unfold and work itself out as well. And I said to Matthew, I said, there is these extraordinary women around me at this moment. I went where I'm seeing this huge amount of trust and leap of faith unfolding in them. I said, which means it has to be unfolding here. And it feels like it is. Because if it wasn't, I would still have this, "Oh, I need to do something about this. I need
Yeah.
to make a choice." And that's falling away, right? And
Yeah.
something is being replaced in it that feels freer and lighter, and just knowing that it is already done.
Yeah. And it's that very openness that allows for things to shift on their own, you know.
Even
It's
the mental commentary at work, there wasn't mental commentary about the situation. There wasn't like
yeah,
even a verbal no, I don't want to do this, I can't do this. There was none of that mind chatter. It
yeah,
was just a
right, right.
noticing that
Yep.
the energy that I had prior to in abundance just went right through the floor. And there was this sense, not even a verbal, a sense of this is a no. And it
Yeah.
wasn't a word, it wasn't a story, there was nothing. It was just a noticing that this happened, and a knowing that that's what this means, which means it's already done because there was no story.
Yeah.
It was just
Right.
seen without the
Yeah.
commentary about it, and a knowing
Yeah.
what that meant. It was a knowing what that meant. And then in that instant, I knew it's already done. And I have other women around me in the same situation, different, but same, with this immense amount of trust that I've watched unfold, that are no separate than myself. I cannot see it there if it's not here already.
Yeah.
I can't see the beauty in something else if it's not here already.
Mm. Yeah.
I can't see the calmness of the water or the vastness of the night sky if it's not here already. I'm not separate to those things.
Right.
What I am is that, and I
Yeah.
can't see it if it's not here already. So it must be done.
Yeah.
And there's just this knowing that it must be done and this sense of, because there's nobody here trusting anything or not trusting anything. That's another thing that's become very apparent in the last couple of weeks. And it's just getting deeper that there's no choosing there, but there is an unfolding that is happening and a deepening of this sense of trust. And that, again, the other day, I was just pondering that, about things working out. And it was like, but haven't they? Haven't they? Like, have you not been taken care of your whole life? Maybe it hasn't been your preferred method, but have you not? Like, when my life fell apart at 40 and I had no clothes, no children, no home, nowhere to go, literally thrown out the house. And it was like, now what? I literally have nowhere to go. It's nighttime. And there was a woman's shelter. That's where I ended up, on their doors, completely in a mess and broken, it seemed. And it wasn't even a shelter that was meant for just single women. They could have turned me away and sent me down the road to one of those shelters that are really not desirable, let's say.
Right.
This was for
Yeah.
battered women and children, and they accepted me instantly. I was taken care of, I was provided for. I had a bed. I lived there for 2 months, and then they had limited spots. And I was on a waiting list for an apartment, but I still hadn't got a call about any. And they informed me that I had to go, like, because they had a family that came in and they had to take precedent over a single person because it was a woman and her children. And and I had to go within like a day. And again, I still had nowhere to go, but the person I was seeing at the time, I had never met his family or his parents. They didn't even know about me, actually. And without my knowledge, he talked to his mom and he told me about this situation, and they accepted me into their home. And I lived with them for quite some time. I paid them rent, which they gave all that back to me when I actually did get a call about a place.
Mm.
And, but was I not taken care of then? Like right then? I had one day, no idea what was going to happen, no friends, no family, and something opened up. You know, I I had a way to get to work. Okay. I had to learn the busing system. And was I great at it? No. And did I like it? Absolutely not. I was used to having my own car. But did I have a way to get to and from work? Yes. Did an apartment eventually open up for me? Yes. When I got into that accident many, 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 many years ago, I should have been dead. I really should have been dead. I, to this day, am still flabbergasted of how that didn't happen. And I was the one that had the least amount of damage to this. I had nothing, not even a scratch really on this body. And it was like, how is that even possible? Was I not taken care of then? Every time when I left home at thir 13, did I not have somewhere to go? Did I not have somewhere to go each time? Okay, maybe right down to the wire, sure. Have I not eaten? Have I not my whole life? Like things could have been so much worse. Have I not been taken care of my whole life? Yeah, maybe again, maybe just down to the wire, maybe just what I needed or just under what I needed, but nonetheless, I've been taken care of and provided for. And now I know like that came at a capacity to my understanding. Life met me where it could meet me in a way that it could meet me. Yet I had no sense of self really. And it still met me.
Right.
Now I do. Now I
Yeah.
know who I am. Now I'm going deeper into what this understanding of life and situations and things, and there's this unfolding happening. How much more can life meet me now then?
Right.
And I already see that unfolding, like the bank situation. Okay, maybe it was a half-baked cake, but nonetheless, it still met me. The other day, I this apartment is really small and it's was feeling a little bit. I needed an end table for here, and I wanted to sell my coffee table over there because it was taking up so much room because it was meant for a house and not a tiny apartment, right? And so I sold the coffee table, and um, I found a replacement for it that was nice. It was secondhand, but it looks pretty much brand new. And it was, for the amount that I sold my coffee table for. And again, I thought I was going to have to buy an end table as well, and I didn't know how that was going to happen because I only had enough money that I made from selling the one to buy the other. And I showed up at her house to see the coffee table. This was just the other day. And she says, "Do you want the matching end table?"
Oh, wow.
And I went, "What?" And
Nice.
she goes, "Yeah, there's like a matching end table." And I went, and then she pointed, and I went, "Oh." I had no idea it wasn't listed in your ad that there was an end table that matched the coffee table. And she goes, "Yeah." And I went, like, "I'm sorry, this is all I have," because I thought it was just a coffee table. Like, I don't have extra for the end table too. And she just paused for a minute. And she goes, "Oh, it's okay, just take it." She goes, just take it. You can have both for the 50. She goes, it's better that they go together anyway. I'll probably and I need them gone. Her whole house was packed. She was moving. She goes,
Yeah, yeah.
and I need them gone now. So just take it. And I went, life just met me. And
Yep.
I didn't have to pay extra for that end table. Life
I
just
love
met
it.
me right here, right now,
Yep.
and something else was very similar to that the other day. Actually, I had enough, I have almost enough money for my rent. I'm going to be a little bit in overdraft, you know, probably about, I don't know, maybe 150, 200 in overdraft. And that's just kind of how it is. And it's not because I didn't have the money, I did, but I wanted to do a couple of things. A couple of days, I wanted to go for a coffee. I wanted to sit down and journal outside. So I did, and I didn't worry about it. I thought,
Yeah.
I knew that was part of my rent money. Was I splurging? No. But I thought, I'm not worrying about it right now. I want to go for a coffee. I want to enjoy some outside. I want to sit in peace. I want to journal here. So I went and got the coffee and not worried about it. Same with I needed cream for the house. I knew again it was coming out with rent money, and I thought, no, I need this. I'm gonna go get it. And I did. And there was been a couple of incidences of just needing something and thought, well, I know this is coming out my rent money, but this is what it is, and I'm not going to worry about it. Like, I'm not separate from money. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I know I need these things now. And just the other day, my HR sent me an email and she says, I don't know if you're aware that you have vacation pay that has accumulated, and I am doing the payouts now for the vacation pay. She goes, but your file is on hold right now because you're not working. She goes, so I can't pay it out to you until you start back at work, which happens to be next week. So because I will be working 2 days, 2 hours each shift, for, 2 or 3 shifts for the next 2 weeks, that means in 2 weeks from now, I will get some amount paid from them and the remainder paid from WSIB, right? But because I am returning to work, so the next paycheck, she can pay that out to me. So that will take me out of my overdraft, and it will also pay my child support.
Perfect.
So again, life showed up for me. Maybe not ideally, maybe not right now, but there still is means for rent to get met. And there is money I know is coming to me in 2 weeks to get me out of that overdraft and to pay my child support. So, like, it's already unfolding, it's already
Yeah,
showing up. And I don't need a story around even that, well, it's 2 weeks from now. It's not going to help me right now. It doesn't matter.
right. Yeah, right.
And the more that it doesn't matter, the more life can meet me.
Yeah,
And it's already happening.
it is. That's the thing. It's
And that I have an abundance of energy these days, like so much. At first, we're so, this came to me too, just the other day. We're so quick to give away our power. We're so quick to do that because of the concussion, I was sleepy a lot. Uh, Energy was low. Yeah, I had to take naps.
yeah.
And then we're going to say 2 weeks ago, starting 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden I started getting this immense amount of energy, more than enough, like more than enough to do everything that I need to do and then some. And there's been this situation where I am having a hard time going to bed at
Oh
nighttime.
yeah, you
Like
mentioned that
one
last
night
week.
I was
Yeah.
up all night long. I didn't go to bed and I was wide awake and raring to go, rip raring to go. I could have done anything. I could have cleaned the whole freaking house. You know what I mean? And I'm still, okay, I'm going to bed now. I chose not to take the pills the doctor gave me. I just let it play out a little longer. Last night I went to bed at like 12:30. I kind of had to make myself go to bed, but I did, and I did fall asleep. But this has been happening, and I chalked it up to, well, it must be that I've gone to the other end of the spectrum of the concussion. I've went from being at the low end, and now this must be a side effect of the concussion, and now I can't go to sleep. Or is it that where energy used to be getting sucked
Yeah,
up and taken up is being freed, and now I
right.
have an abundance of energy. I don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time going to bed because well, I'm still kind of limited due to still some concussion symptoms of how that can be expressed,
Yeah.
right? And the other day I thought, why is it so why is it so hard to believe that things are just becoming lighter and easier and that energy is being freed up and that I just don't have I have an abundance of energy because energy is being freed up now. Why is it so much more believable to go, well, I must be at the other end of the concussion now? No, because this didn't happen with the last concussion either. So why would it be so much more easier to believe that story than to know that no, energy is just being freed up and I have an abundance of energy and there's nowhere to aim it at the moment because physically there's still things being dealt with. And maybe I can trust that this abundance of energy that is here now has come because maybe my work situation is working itself out. And maybe this freed up energy is going to have a direction very soon to go in, and that direction will be into my business. And throwing it that way, I'm looking at women around me already doing the same thing. How I can't see that and know that it will work out for them and hear their stories, watch it unfold for them and not know that it's not happening here. Maybe that's why I have an abundance of energy already. Maybe it's because it is working itself out. Maybe this is part of it. Why should there be such a quick dismissal of that and to throw it in the direction of, well, this just must be the symptom?
Yeah, the mind will always have an opinion about what's happening,
Or just
but
trust what's happening.
yeah, I mean, whatever is happening, it's not a story, it's an actual, um,
Like last night, I was up till 11:30 doing laundry. My husband was long in bed, and I did laundry just fine, all by myself. It wasn't even hard.
yeah,
I made yogurt late last night.
yeah,
Just the body just got up. I've been thinking about making yogurt. I'm not tired right now. I'm gonna make some yogurt.
yeah,
Like things are happening with ease.
yeah. And that's the thing. That doesn't need to be questioned. It's just seen like everything else. There isn't anything to do either way.
Life is showing up. It's showing up already. I started this practice a week ago after our meeting with Louise. I love Louise's satsangs.
Yeah,
I love working with her one-on-one. She is very similar to myself. We have very similar stories and issues. And so whenever she tells me that she's doing something and she brings it to my attention, I take heed in that,
yeah,
that that's come up for a reason. Or she'll suggest something to me that she's doing and ask, just as a gentle suggestion, if maybe you could try this. So in one of our meetings, she was talking about that she does a daily intention in the mornings as part of her daily practice. So setting an intention for the day. And when she was telling me about it, I noticed there was this resonance in me that was like, oh, I really like that. Like that would be really, there was something in me that kind of vibrated like, oh, I really like that. And so, she was just gently saying, maybe this is what I do. And it's kind of, and I like it. And more than not, like this is how my day actually unfolds when I set an intention for it. And I started doing it actually. I got a separate journal and every morning, okay, I forgot a couple of mornings. Okay, it happened. I forgot. And the moment I remembered, and then, it happened. And I set a daily intention of what I would like to experience that day, peace of mind, more oneness, to be happy, caring, and loving towards others and myself, or, you know, and that I would also like to be more consistent with practice. And however any of all that unfolds, how any of all that unfolds, but just the fact that I'm physically writing down
Yeah.
my intention for the day,
Yeah.
and something that seems to be happening, but I would like it to be more consistent, right? There is a desire for practice to be more consistent, even though it is happening on its own, sporadically here, there, and everywhere. I would like it to be more, and I know it is in the intention. I know from the past how powerful intention is.
Yeah.
And I like this practice. It's just like a small little
Yeah.
blurb every morning that takes me like 5 minutes. And it feels good to write an intention for the day. And then I
Yeah.
bless the intention. I bless it at the end of it. Like it's already happened. Like it's already done. And she's right. More often than not, that is what I experience each and every day.
Yeah.
And I guess in some ways that is also a practice. That's a practice I've taken on, because it really vibrationally felt good. I resonated with it. And okay, I missed a couple of days, but for the most part, it's been happening every morning. Maybe it's not a direct sitting down doing a contemplation or self-inquiry, but nonetheless, it is a practice. It is a spiritual practice of intention. It
Yeah.
has been very consistent. Practices of the 30-day challenges with you have been very consistent. Is it not already unfolding,
Right.
the consistency of practice?
Well, yeah, I mean the desire arising for consistency is already evidence that it is happening and will continue to happen.
Is meditation not happening more and more each day? Sure, it is. It most definitely is. Are they always like peaceful and void? No, most definitely not. Usually it's like attention's here, attention's here, attention's here, attention's here. But there's that back and forth that I'm noticing. And again, there's no frustration with that. It just is, and
Yeah.
it's okay. And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything about meditation.
No.
I showed up. Something here
Yeah.
showed up. And however it unfolds, it doesn't matter because something showed up.
Yeah. I mean, that's where that's what's powerful about it is seeing that clearly, seeing that any judgment of it is just coming from the mind. It's not uh there's no real substance to it. The more clearly that's seen, the more it does dissolve, the more and the better you feel. And the better you feel, the more things will continue to unfold in that way. Um, because that's enough to see that, to see that that's already here. It's already here all the time. Um, the mind gets quieter on its own, practice becomes more consistent on its own. That
Life is showing
intention
up
is,
all on its own,
yeah,
maybe in small ways, but those small ways will lead to more other flowing ways. It's in the seeing the small ways that it's showing up that is going to make it able for the larger things to show up and unfold. like
Yeah.
the coffee table and end table, like the
Yeah.
fact that I have these, this accumulated vacation pay that this month is
Yeah.
getting paid out that I didn't expect that. I completely forgot all about vacation pay. And
Yeah.
that a few months ago they were changing stuff in the company, and that instead of getting paid out on every paycheck, I decided that I wanted it paid out in June. I think the end of June,
Okay. Yeah.
right? I completely forgot all about that.
Yeah.
So I did have, after a few months, some vacation pay that did accumulate that needed to get paid out. And it will be paid out 2 weeks after I return to work. So in 2 weeks from now. So like I wasn't expecting that either.
Yeah.
And okay, I did spend some money on a couple of items of food that we needed. Okay. I went out and I enjoyed a coffee, knowing that that was my rent money. But it wasn't like I was buying a Porsche or something. I just wanted to go enjoy a freaking coffee,
You didn't
you
decide
know?
anything anyway.
And no, and it ended up working out anyway. And I think part of that is because there is this lightness happening around money.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's powerful. It's patterns dissolving, patterns that were never real to begin with. Um, it's all just seen through the filter of the mind. And there's just a habit to look at things through that filter and feel like anything that's appearing through that filter has to be how things actually are.
Yeah.
But, there's
Same
there
with the energy. There, I could label that in so many different ways. There could
yeah,
be
I mean that could
labels
go on
about that all
forever.
over the place. You know what I mean? But the fact is, there is an abundance of energy right now, and it feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
And I could care
that's
less what
enough.
time I'm going to bed or not. You know what I mean? The fact that there is an abundance of energy here, it's here. Why
Yeah,
it's
it doesn't
here,
need to
it
be
don't
figured
matter.
out. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. That's the thing that I'm starting to realize, that just like feeling okay. Um, there used to be a sense of wanting to figure that out in order to hold on to it, in order to replicate it, in order to, but it's like it's the very act of doing that that is going to create that heavy energy again of being a doer, of being a decider, of being a person on a journey that needs to transcend all of these um limitations. Look, there are no limitations. Like there are
No,
already are no limitations.
even the house
Um,
stuff like laundry, like some things that I even had to rely on my husband for, you know, like the cleaning of the house, the doing of the dishes, the doing of the laundry, making the beds, tidying things up. Like before, this kind of was like chores, even though I live in a small apartment. It was still
yeah,
kind of like a chore, and now it's just happening. Like it's almost like by itself. Like
yeah,
the house isn't getting dusty anymore. There's no dishes on the counter ever anymore. The house is being vacuumed and the laundry is being done, and it's almost like it's doing itself.
yeah,
Like
it
it doesn't
is.
feel like I'm doing any of it. It's just getting picked up when it gets picked up and put down when it gets put down. And I look around the house and it's like, how is the house not getting dusty anymore? Why aren't the dishes piling up anymore? Like I don't understand how this can feel like almost like a magic wand. Like things are just, I don't even
Yeah,
feel like I'm doing anything yet. I know that I am.
the body is.
You know what I mean? Like it's
And there's
just,
no more identification with that.
no,
There's, you
it's just
know,
happening. And it
yeah,
feels,
it was always just happening.
and
It's
now it's just
the difference
effortless.
is,
That's the
yeah,
difference. Now it just feels
yeah,
effortless. It's not a
because the
chore
mind is
anymore. It's
no
just,
longer coming in and believing in effort, believing that effort is necessary for anything to happen. Like that's all conditioning, we really get conditioned to believe that, like especially in our culture, it's like everything is supposed to come from effort. Like if you're not making an enormous effort, then supposedly nothing will happen, but that's one of those really deeply conditioned beliefs that can keep getting questioned. And the more it's questioned, the more things open up, energetically, um, the more things can be aligned with reality, which is that which is that nothing is the result of effort. Like that's an illusion,
yeah.
it's like it creates this feeling of total exhaustion, burnout, all of that. Like it's it's amazing to see that dissolve, to see that that dissolves and things still get done.
And
Like
this is,
in fact, things get done better.
and this here is there. So if there's like an abundance of energy here and things are getting done here with ease and a lightness, and it just seems like it's just magically happening, then you also can't see that without knowing that it's also here.
Yeah,
Just like the desire for me to quit my job and go into my business and to do that full time and just to have the courage and the trust that that is possible and that it will work out, even if I don't know how the
right.
bills are going to get paid if I do that. I can't see that happening there without not knowing that it's here too, because
Yeah,
it's there's no there and here.
right.
So
Yeah,
on some level, that is happening here. Just like on some level, what's happening here is happening for you. It's again, it's in the seeing. It's in the seeing of that and the knowing that there's no not two.
yeah. Yeah, and that will just keep deepening. It can't do otherwise. It's not being directed by a person. There's like we can let ourselves off the hook there.
Same with the body. Like when I was looking at the body last night, listening to the stories and whatever, there's also a knowing that I really don't know how this happened. I really don't. I could have all kinds of labels about it, but it's not uncommon for my body to go through these phases of, you know, being a larger size. Like I've always in the past few years had a little bit of an accordion going on, right? And but it's always come off. And I don't know why it happens. And this is no different. And I'm starting to think that it's in the acceptance of actually this is how it looks right now. And there's this again, like after last night, it's just like, okay, I don't know how this happened. I don't know how it's going to unhappen. I can hear what the mind has to say about it, or I can just see it, accept it, and love it the way it is.
Yeah.
And in that lovingness,
Hmm.
in that lovingness without the judgments and the labels. And I mean, they can still be there, but not a following of them, just seeing them
Yeah,
and knowing what I actually am, and that there's actually not a body here. It just seems to be. And that the formless isn't skinny and the formless isn't fat
right,
or chunky is the word that was used, right?
right.
Then then something has to shift in that.
Yeah,
How? I don't know, but it has to. I know it does.
yeah,
It's just in seeing what the mind is saying and seeing what I'm not. And what I'm not is love. In what I'm not, there is this total love and acceptance. And can I not just enjoy this plumpness right now?
right. Yeah, there's a real power in that, just embracing how life is showing up right now, not needing it to be different. Um, it will change, everything changes. That's that's the one thing we can count on. The mind always wants to come in and bring all this heavy energy of like, we need to do something about this to change it, but it does
And I
actually
don't.
change on its own,
Yeah.
especially when we have that sense of who we really are, what we really are. That love is already here. It doesn't need to be understood by the mind. It doesn't need to be generated in any way. It's already here. It never was not here. And as the mind gets quieter, and it will keep doing that, then the reality just becomes clearer and clearer. It's like
In this natural
there's just a knowing
extension,
of that.
like if my daughter were standing in front of me saying some of the things that my mind says about me, right, about this
Yeah,
body, I would like tell her otherwise because I would tell her what I actually see when I look at her, not what she's saying about herself.
yeah,
And there's just this knowing that why can't that be extended here? Why can I not feel pretty
yeah,
or, you know, feel like, okay, I'm a little bit more curvy right now. Why can't I just enjoy being a little bit more curvy right now? There's a
yeah,
little bit more to me to love right now. Doesn't mean I'm not pretty. It doesn't
yeah,
mean that I can't feel pretty.
yeah. No, that's powerful because it is just seeing what's already here. There's no effort there. There's no task to be completed. It's like the more we check in with what's already here, that total acceptance, um, it's already here.
It's already here.
Yeah,
So why can't I just see that? Just because that's all I can do anyway is just see it.
that's the thing. It's all you can do
I can
anyway.
see it and I can be it. I can be
Yeah,
that extension of myself, looking at myself, going, this has already been accepted and it's totally fine. And
yeah,
I am beautiful.
yeah. I mean, it's like the reality of the human body is is that it's it's not gonna like I mean, acceptance is the only thing that's gonna feel good. It's like um the mind is always going to compare and contrast. It's always going to um have some kind of ideal in mind, and um but it can't actually be satisfied. Like the body does age, the body does change, the body is not it's not about meeting some kind of ideal, it that is what leads to unhappiness or the feeling of unhappiness. The more the more clearly that's seen, the more acceptance is just a natural state. It's like uh I mean, it's like what you pointed out with looking at your daughter, like the that comes more naturally a lot of times to accept other people, to not judge other people as harshly. Um, but there is no difference between you and other people. It's just sort of a false distinction that the mind creates. It's like this is where I end and this other person begins. And I accept them, but I accept their body, but I don't accept this body. It's like there like there aren't separate bodies, you
No.
know.
And what
Um,
I say there has to apply here.
it has to.
It has to. And it's seeing that. Like, and there was a seeing that yesterday when me and Matthew were out and he was talking about not being able to take off his shirt to tan the rest of his body because he's uncomfortable with having a belly and stuff. And it was like, but why? I said, why? Like,
Yeah.
I still find you attractive. And he goes, well, I'm glad you do. And then I realized, well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Well, if I still find him attractive, and that I don't think he should be ashamed of being able to take off his shirt to tan his belly because then what?
yeah,
Then what's going on over here?
yeah,
Like it's like there's just a seeing what's being said there applies here. It
exactly.
applies here. Actually, it applies here more than it applies anywhere else because there is only here. Everywhere
No,
else just seems to be.
it's all an opportunity to just see more deeply and more clearly. And when the intention is there to see more clearly and more deeply, like there's nothing else that can happen.
And that's in the
Like,
transformation. That's where things transform.
yeah,
Not by a doing,
no,
but
exactly.
as a cause and effect kind of situation.
It's just a reflection
It,
that has to, like, anytime we have that clear seeing, we're looking as love, knowing that we're that can't help to be transformative. It dissolves the illusion of anything being anything other than love. It's just that's
I
the
watched
power of
something
the
from
clear
Helen
seeing.
the other day. I can't remember what it was, but it was in her extra classes, and she actually was talking about the cause and the effect of things.
Mm,
And she kept repeating over and over again that the cause isn't out there and that causes the effect here, right? Out there isn't the cause of what happens here. She goes, actually, that is in reverse. She goes,
mm,
reverse that. Every time you fall into like that kind of thought pattern, reverse that. She goes, actually, the cause is here, which reflects that effect out there.
right.
So, like, I could say, just as an example, I could say that the chips out there are causing this body mind over here to get plumper. Or, as Helen says, flip that round, that actually what's going on in here, right, is showing the reflection of that in the mirror.
Yeah.
It actually has nothing to do with the chips.
Yeah,
It's
that's why
what's
the mind
already
can't
residing in
be.
here. It can't,
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way. And we're
Yeah.
so used to looking and going, this is affecting me here, when actually what is already here in here is reflecting what's already in here. And it's in here where the shift happens that will mirror it there.
Yeah. Um, yeah. It's that's why the mind can't be consulted for an understanding of reality. It doesn't actually understand it. It thinks it does.
Yeah. So again,
It's
I don't know
conditioned
what's going
to.
on with this body. I have no idea.
Yeah, the
I
more you can
really,
be in
really
that
don't.
place of
But I
I
can
don't
love
know,
it.
the better. Yeah, exactly.
I can accept that this is how it is. And that's not an acceptance. That's just knowing that I'm not this body, that I am actually formlessness itself. And this is just an appearance. This is just a way that I am appearing right now temporarily
Yeah.
in form. But this is not me. It can't define me. And I have no idea what's going on with the image of this body right now. And nor do I
Yeah.
need to figure that out. And the more and more I see my true self, the more and more that will sort itself out as it
Yeah,
always has.
exactly. Yeah.
But maybe faster because now it's being approached consciously
Yeah,
instead of
exactly.
unconsciously.
Yeah. And there's a lot more relaxation around that. There's a lot more um, that's just it just happens naturally. Um, so I have to go.
Yeah,
Um, but uh, but yeah, I'm really glad we were able to connect today. It's always a pleasure
it sure is.
to have these conversations. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, Ellie. Thank you. You have a
thank you,
great
Tanya.
day.
You too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going deeper into these challenges and to see what transpires.
I
It's
feel like
always,
this one challenge has come at the most
yeah,
supreme time.
yeah,
The conscious imagining is still working itself out, I have to
yeah,
say.
same.
Um,
Yeah,
that is,
yeah.
that is what it is. So
But
it will unfold.
it feels like such a win to have so much less self-judgment around it and to just allow it to unfold without having so much, yeah, so much self-judgment and feelings of failure come up around it. It is just happening on its own, and
Hmm.
the timing is perfect with all of it. So,
Most definitely. Okay,
yeah.
Ellie. Have a
All
great
right.
day. Love
You
you.
too. Have a
Bye.
good one. Love you too. Bye.